Here's Mr. Burns growing up dirt poor.
Tra-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la.
And here's Mr. Burns 100 years later having a frackin' money fight because why not? His rags to riches story could be an Oscar-winning movie if he wasn't so corrupt and pure evil. But what is his exact net worth? Today, I'm breaking down all of Burns' income, expenses, and assets to find out, starting with all the generational income he 100% did not deserve. While the episode Rosebud revealed Burns was born to poor parents and he abandoned them to go live with a twisted, heartless billionaire.
Let's roll. Wait, you forgot your bear.
There are just so many conflicting episodes regarding his backstory. For example, Last Exit to Springfield shows he was actually born into his wealth. According to the episode, Burns is the grandchild of Wainwright Montgomery Burns, an ultra-rich tycoon who owned Springfield's Atom Mill in the early 1900s.
Come on, crack those atoms. You, turn out those pockets. 6 of them. Take him away!
Burns and his Gramps are basically identical in looks, and don't even get me started on personality. See, Wainwright Burns was a real see-you-next-Tuesday, running a plantation in the 1860s and earning millions off the backs of enslaved African Americans while he sits around doing jack.
This new Viennese dance craze, the waltz. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Where's the 4? All music needs a 4.
I'll have the orchestra adjust its time signature, sir.
See that you do.
In 1860, the U.S. cotton industry was valued at $200 million, which is equivalent to more than $7.8 billion today. Consider the millions made from the Atom Mill, too, and basically Burns' grandpa was hella rich. Monty must have gotten his inheritance around the year 1920, as we already see him living as a super rich tycoon in The Great Gatsby.
Such shindigs I threw at my summer estate. In an age of shameful excess, my parties were legendary for their magnificent
My guess is that Mr. Burns inherited a good 20 mil of generational wealth from his piece of garbage grandfather, which would work out to almost $324 million as of 2025. And that's not all, folks, because Burns knows how to invest too. In The Old Man and the Lisa, we learned Burns invested in something truly horrible prior to the 1929 Wall Street crash.
Confederated slave holdings, how's that doing?
It's, steady.
I'm sure all your stocks are doing well, sir. After all, you chose them.
Burns has multiple stocks in his dusty old portfolio, and this is presumably how he achieved the status of America's wealthiest man by 1945.
The man chosen to deliver this precious cargo to Europe was America's wealthiest and therefore most trustworthy citizen. See Montgomery Burns.
America's wealthiest man in 1945 would have been Henry Ford, who had roughly $11 billion of net worth at the time. As young Burns is supposed to have been even richer, all his stocks must have made him an extra $12 billion at the bare minimum. Brace yourself, ladies and gents, because $12 billion in 1945 equates to just under 200 frackin' billion bucks in 2025. Holy cow! This rich fricker could have lived his whole life in luxury and still been able to clean up every last drop of Earth's oceans. But oh no, he had to totally annihilate the environment for more money, didn't he? The Springfield nuclear power plant. It's been polluting the town for decades and has even birthed a species of mutant three-eyed fish. The plant supplies energy to every building in Springfield, and as the owner and CEO, Burns earns enough moolah to own his very own human chessboard.
Hey, Burns has been gone for a while.
Let's make a run for it.
Protect me!
A small-scale nuclear power plant like Springfield's would generate about $2.5 million each day on average. That means Burns takes home $912,500,000 annually before tax. So how long has the power plant actually been polluting Springfield for anyway? Well, according to the Blunder years, it opened around the time Homer was 12.
Hey, what was that?
That's that nuclear plant they just opened.
Yeah, that's your future, busting atoms. Can you imagine us working there?
Homie was born in 1956. Ignoring all the insane timeline changes in the show, his age is canonically 34. So that means the plant has been running for 22 odd years. Do the math, and Burns has made $20 billion and $75 million from obliterating the environment. Monty doesn't just own a silly old power plant, though. The Burns empire is absolutely massive because a billionaire can never have too much money, right? In season 5, Burns opened a not-so-looking casino the very second Quimby decided to legalize gambling.
It's got to have sex appeal and a catchy name.
The casino was highly popular, attracting tourists from outside of Springfield. Hell, even Marge got addicted to those slot machines.
Oh, man, that's classic compulsive behavior.
Mr. Burns' casino was eventually demolished in Viva Ned Flanders, but presumably raked in at least $20 million before getting destroyed. In Who Shot Mr. Burns Part 1, Monty would start an oil drilling company just to steal priceless oil from Springfield Elementary.
Soon that mighty apparatus will burst forth with its precious fluid.
The value of this oil was going to be enough to grant every student a full college scholarship.
Well, we could give each student a full college scholarship.
Around 250 students attend Springfield Elementary. The average price of college tuition in the U.S. is around $38,270. So all this oil Burns stole had to have been at least worth $9.5 million. Of course, Skinner and Chambers had zero intention of wasting precious money on college scholarships. Less than 1% of students would get in anyway. They were, however, going to hire Tito Puente as the new music teacher. Lisa was thrilled. Sucks that Burns ended up stealing everything, though. But hey, you know what they say about karma.
Won't dignify that with response.
Burns survived the shooting and continued expanding his empire, building a Little Lisa recycling plant in Season 8 to secretly turn fish into pig feed.
I think I'm gonna be sick.
Oh, a spoonful of slurry will cure what ails ya.
Oh, you haven't changed at all. You're still evil, and when you're trying to be good, you're even more evil.
He later sold the company out to a fish stick corporation for $120 million. And at least he had the decency to offer $12 million to Lisa. Yeah, Homer almost died when she rejected the offer.
Lise, have I told you lately that I love you? Wow, I've never seen so much money. Oh, but I can't accept that. Knowing where it came from? No.
I'm telling you, if my kid ripped up a $12 million check, I would have been on them faster than those bees destroyed Burns' basketball team.
Don't worry, Lisa. Where else are they gonna go?
To that new stadium that looks exactly like a hive!
Welcome to the American dream. A billionaire using public funds to construct a private playground for the rich and powerful. And now, so our skybox owners can really enjoy the game, I shall let in the sky.
That was straight up karma for destroying Lisa's bee sanctuary. However, I'd estimate Burns still made at least $500,000 in ticket sales. Hardly worth getting excited over. His burger business, though, it almost seemed like his best idea ever. Then it came crashing down just like all the others do. In Burger Kings, Burns tries Krusty Burger for the first time and almost dies. This certainly won't be the last major disappointment for Springfield.
Sir, you nearly died.
I nearly died. How was the reaction?
Well, when they heard you were dying.
Burns wants to be mourned when he dies, so he tries making people think he's changed by starting a plant-based, environmentally friendly burger joint. The name was an easy one to figure out.
Excellent.
Oh, you've done it again, sir.
The Excellent Burger tastes so frackin' good, even meat eaters can't get enough of it. The business becomes so popular, they completely run the Krusty Burger out of business, even though Krusty just released a new LGBTQ BLT burger.
How could employ this cynical and shameless fail? Now, you're three of those letters. Where did I go wrong?
Your product is inferior, your marketing is offensive, and you have more ex-wives than franchise locations.
What happened to Kiss-Ass Mel, who was afraid of my shadow?
When Bart, Lisa, and Milhouse discover that the secret ingredient in the Excellent Burger has taken plant-based to the absolute extreme,
They're all endangered. We have to tell Burns. He already knows.
they expose the scandal, and the country expects an immediate public statement from the dirtbag. And after 32 seasons of Homer screwing things up for him, you'd think he would have stopped making him do his dirty work.
Is it true that Excellent Burgers are made of plants from the rainforest?
Absolutely.
Excellent Burger went out of business, but Burns was just happy he didn't have to keep pretending to be good. Now he can relax and get back to his pure evil pastimes.
Would you like to go to a school for the blind and convince them aliens have landed?
I'd like that.
Success-wise, Excellent Burger was probably comparable to Wendy's or something. According to Smithers, Burns opened 1,000 of these burger joints across the U.S.
We'll do a sneak preview of your burger chain, and then a grand opening of 1,000 stores across the country.
Your average Wendy's restaurant will generate $1.9 million each year, so if Excellent Burger lasted that long, Burns would have made approximately $1.9 billion in total from his 1,000 restaurants. All of his stores closed in a month though, but I'd imagine he still made about $50 million. Altogether, Mr. Burns and all of his greedy schemes have racked up a staggering $219,968,889,653. Is it even possible for one man to blow through all that wealth? Well, let's find out as we break down all of Burns' expenses, starting with the most obvious one, tax. Mr. Burns should have been paid over $81 billion in taxes by now. But come on, there's no way the guy who mugs the literal orphans is paying his taxes like a decent member of society.
We've siphoned off extra power from the orphanage. Who are they going to complain to? Their parents?
Think this sly fricker will be the most corrupt tax evader of all time? You're more right than Lisa's answers on a pop quiz. In The Joy of Sec, Smithers reveals that this oxygen thief billionaire pays even less tax than a child's lemonade stand should.
Actually, sir, with our creative bookkeeping and corporate loopholes, we only pay $3 a year.
$3? This billionaire could literally eradicate world hunger, but he's too stingy to even pay $4 back to society. Presuming the piece of crap has been paying the same tax every year since the age of 18, this 104-year-old hasn't even paid $300 to the IRS over the past 86 years. Yep, no wonder this fricker won first place in Forbes 100 Most Evil People over 100. Why is it always the worst people who live the longest? Burns just won't die, so you're probably wondering what food he's eating to give him immortality. Well, he's clearly a massive fan of bran.
What is this? What are you doing?
Assuming those 20 boxes we see are Burns' yearly breakfast supply, that's approximately $3,440 he spent on boring bran over the past 86 years. Cereal, of course, isn't the only thing Monty buys in a box. He needs plenty of dog food for his hounds. These flesh-eating demons need the finest dog food around. High-end dog food can cost as much as $2,700 annually, and that's just for one dog. A pack of 10 of them guards Burns' manor, and assuming he's been using dogs to guard his property for the past 86 years, that works out to $2,322,000 on dog food alone. And what about Burns' own food? He doesn't just eat cereal and usually has a personal chef prepare his meals. Cooking for someone whose appetite is the polar opposite of Homer Simpson's seems like it should be the simplest job in the world.
Sir, your personal chef is here with your breakfast.
Voila, one raisin, wrinkles ironed and smooth with one molecule of sugar.
But there's always the risk of becoming the meal yourself.
Oh, you need a wine pairing Cabernet to bring out my earthiness.
Personal chefs don't come cheap, and as I'm sure Burns is hiring the best in the world, my guess is that he forks over $100K annually on his gourmet meals, at the very least. Assuming he's always been too lazy to cook for himself, that works out to $8.6 million over the past 86 years. So what's his secret to a long, evil life? Has he sold his soul to Ned Flanders? Nah, even the devil has standards. The Springfield Files reveals that Burns actually undergoes a series of medical treatments every Friday to cheat death for another week. And what does this weekly medical treatment look like exactly? Honestly, worse than just dying.
Then a team of doctors administers eye drops.
A crazy treatment like that probably costs somewhere around $50K bare minimum. But cheapskate Burns goes to sketchy Dr. Nick for lower prices and lots of side effects. Assuming these are all $100 bills Dr. Nick is holding.
The most rewarding part was when he gave me my money.
And it looks like Burns only spends $10K per week on his medical treatment. Presuming he's been putting himself through this torture every week since the age of like 75, his bill works out to $480,000 per year and almost $14 million over the past 29 years. However, we'll throw in an extra $5 million because, I mean, how many times has Burns been admitted to a regular hospital? A lot. Remember when Smithers got stung by that bee and Burns made him pedal himself to the hospital?
One more jostle, you wretched sugar-day guy.
Since we're already on the subject of Burns' #1 and only admirer, believe it or not, Smithers doesn't work as his personal assistant for free. Yep, he's getting paid to bathe and dress his 104-year-old crush. It's never been revealed how much Smithers makes, but it's enough for him to rent a shabby apartment, collect Malibu Stacy's, and own a computer.
Smithers, you're quite good at turning me on.
A personal assistant with years of experience should be making over 60 grand per year. Burns is infamous for being cheap and treating Smithers like total garbage though, so we'll assume he only walks away with a minimum wage salary. That would be about $15,080 per year in the US and $150,800 for the 10 years he's worked at the plant. What an absolutely atrocious salary. But at least he pays the regular plant employees a semi-livable wage. Well, not all of them.
Excellent, Zutroy. Work hard, and each day you'll get a shiny penny.
The episode Homer the Smithers shows the power plant has 714 employees in total. When breaking down Homer's net worth, I established that he takes home about $23,020.80 before tax. Assuming 600 employees make the same salary and the other 114 are illegal workers earning a penny a day, each year Burns pays out $13,839,840 to his workers. And over the last 22 years, that bill has snowballed to $304,476,480. He probably would have forked over $1 billion in that time if he paid his employees even close to the average wage a power plant worker makes, which is higher than 100 grand annually in some cases. I mean, for crying out loud, Burns is paying them less than McDonald's would. And they have master's degrees. Well, except this guy.
Carl and I each have a master's. Of course, old Homer, he didn't need a degree.
With all the money Burns has saved by underpaying employees and evading taxes, he could have at least have had the decency to keep the power plant well maintained and, not a complete death trap. So how much is it costing Burns to run the power plant anyway? A large nuclear power plant costs almost $300 million to run each year. Springfield's is on the smaller side though, however, still requires a heck of a lot of uranium. I mean, Homer was able to sneak all this out without anyone realizing.
Have you ever seen a field glow like that?
But are you sure this is safe?
And what about the probably thousands of health and safety fines Burns must have had over the few decades?
342 violations I have observed at your plant today.
What about the cost of disposing all that nuclear waste properly?
I think it's full, sir.
That's ridiculous. The last tree held 9 drums.
As you can see, Burns constantly weasels his way out of fines, doesn't give a crap about patching up the plant, and will literally dump nuclear waste into children's playgrounds just to save money. Therefore, I estimate that the total cost of running the plant is far below average, likely only $70 million per year. The plant's been running for 22 years, so altogether, Burnsy spent $1,540 million. Oh no, poor little multi-billionaire just lost $1 billion. Don't hate him for stealing solar power, guys. With all the money the plant costs him, you can't blame a guy for just trying to make ends meet.
Take one last look at the sun, Springfield.
A sunblocker large enough to cover the whole of Springfield would definitely cost $1 million at least. Pretty dang cheap compared to the rest of Burns' evil schemes, though. Speaking of evil schemes, this geriatric goblin's always up to no good. In the episode Rosebud may be the most hilarious example of just that. In this episode, Burns wants to find his lost childhood teddy bear, Bobo. Lo and behold, it belongs to Maggie Simpson. Still, Homer is too nice a dad to give it back, even when promised 3 Hawaiian islands.
Give me the bear.
The bear.
The next day, Burns literally has Homer tortured at work, and when he still won't give in, it's time for Plan B: destroy the 2 things he loves most on this earth: booze and TV.
As long as you have beer?
That's right.
Wrong. This town will be as dry as a bone.
Homer, give him what he wants.
In the end, Maggie was the one who gave Bobo back to Burns. If you just asked nicely from the start, he could have saved so much money. To take over TV, Burns bought out all 78 channels.
I have taken over all 78 channels.
There's no way that didn't cost at least $100 billion at the bare minimum. Now add the cost of producing his own Emmy Award-losing shows, and he's looking at another $20 million.
Already?
Yes.
Paying every beer truck driver to divert away from Springfield would probably cost another $500,000 in total at least. Overall, Burns has just wasted billions upon billions of bucks, and all for what? To get back a smelly old frackin' bear? And how much money has the fricker squandered building his massive empire anyway? As I've already established, Burns' empire is comprised of many businesses. Obviously, he's got the power plant. Those things take $13.61 million to build, which is way less than I expected, actually. And the plant's just the start of Burns' totally unnecessary land development. The Mr. Burns Casino looked just like something straight out of Vegas. Hell, he even had frackin' tigers on the premises. This would have been a lawsuit waiting to happen if the Simpsons weren't so poor.
Watch! You gotta watch out!
Given the luxury of the casino, I'd say it's almost comparable to Caesar's Palace, which cost $24 million to build, and it was 100% worth it. Add another $10 million for the casino employees and performers, and Burns is about another $34 million down. You know, he could have literally lived at Caesar's Palace permanently if he was careful with his fortune, but oh no, he had to build a fish slurry factory, a frackin' basketball stadium, 1,000 burger joints, and even start an oil drilling company just to steal oil from Springfield Elementary. Pure evil. But somehow Plan B was less disturbing than Plan A.
Me and my fourth form chums think it would be quite corking if you'd sign over your oil well to the local energy concern.
It was naive of you to think I would mistake this town's most prominent 104-year-old man for one of my elementary school students.
A recycling plant only costs $300,000 to build, but Mr. Burns decided to kill thousands of fish and turn them into slurry instead.
What's going on?
I call it the Burns OmniNet.
Running something as diabolical as this would cost at least $20 million, but Burns sold the company out for $120 million. Dude made a massive profit with this evil scheme, but karma usually comes for him pretty hard. For example, his basketball stadium got taken over by bees after he destroyed their sanctuary to build it.
Help me, Makmoo!
Basketball stadiums are massive places with giant LED screens and extensive surrounding infrastructure, so Burns must have forked over at least $1 billion to build the Monty Burns basketball stadium, only for some pesky bees to destroy it like 2 days after opening. Money well spent, huh? Mr. Burns' 1,000 plant-based burger joints were a big flop as well, and like always, he 100% deserved to get run out of business. Building a fast food restaurant typically costs around $500,000, and as Burns opened 1,000, he forked over $500 million. Dang, he could have saved the Amazon rainforest with all that money. After 104 years of being the worst kind of dirtbag, Burns ended up getting shot after he robbed priceless oil from Springfield Elementary.
Stricken, I lurched forth in search of aid, but finding only slack-jawed gawkers, I gave up and collapsed on the sundial.
It costs around $3 million to drill oil, so Burns went to all that trouble just to make a $6 million profit. That's basically pennies to him and a real testament to how truly evil he actually is. Fun fact, Burns Slant Drilling Co. was based on the Slant Hole scandal, a real event in 1930s Texas where $100 million of oil was stolen from a school. If there was that much oil to steal, I have no doubt Burns would have swiped it all. It's not like he's ever going to go to jail, right? His army of well-paid lawyers can protect him from anything.
Priced lawyers.
Burns' lawyers are the best money can buy, and as they're always required to stand behind his bookcase in case he needs them, they must work full-time and probably charge extra due to the risk of suffocation. 10 lawyers make up Monty's legal team, so my guess is he spends $50 million on them as a whole annually. Someone as corrupt as him has probably needed attorneys behind his bookshelf for the last 60 years, which brings his total legal fees to $3 billion. Sheesh, wouldn't it be cheaper just to settle all the lawsuits? Probably not, actually. I mean, how many times has Burns sent an employee down here?
The trapdoor's under renovation. It's not safe.
Burns' infamous trap door has been home to electric eels and a mysterious tube that sent Charlie who knows frackin' where. It must have cost a good $3 million to install in Burns' office, but that's absolutely peanuts compared to the price of his massive 137-room mansion. Seriously, Burns Manor is even fancier than the frackin' White House. There's a 20-foot-high wall surrounding the estate, an electric fence, a pack of vicious hounds, and at times, Wizard of Oz-style guards.
All we own, we own.
Security measures alone for Burns' house must have eaten up $20 million of his income over the past 86 years. Mr. Burns grew up in Springfield, so I'm going to assume he inherited his old mansion from his grandfather instead of actually buying it. Saves him about $100 million in expenses right there. But a huge house comes with huge energy bills, guys. Burns obviously doesn't have electricity or heating bills as he doesn't need to give money to himself, right? There's a hefty water bill, though. Gotta keep the hounds hydrated and the daily bath with Smithers nice and deep.
Killed me!
You cats! Cold!
The average water bill in the US is about $78 per month for a family of 4. Considering the 10 hounds and Smithers who will do anything he can to never leave Burns' side, this manor is basically a 12-person household. That brings Burns' water bill to $234 a month, $2,808 a year, and $241,488 over the last 86 years, give or take a drop. Wow, keeping Burns semi-hydrated costs less than I expected. Now I wonder how much it'll cost to fuel all of his classic cars. You know, the ones he may or may not use to kill kids depending on how he feels. Burns usually takes the backseat and lets Smithers drive, think Frick. As a 104-year-old, he doesn't really get out much, so he only needs to drive to and from the plant Monday to Friday, and sometimes for a rare appearance at church.
Come on.
All in all, I reckon Burns probably only spends about $2,000 each year on fuel. Over 86 years, that adds up to $172,000. A teeny tiny fragment compared to all the other expenses he's racked up in this section. After tallying up Burns' essentials and all the ridiculous ways he's splurged his fortune, my calculations show that he owes $106,489,996,466. Golly goober, and there's me thinking my bills were out of hand. Right now, Burns is still nicely in the billionaire category, so he doesn't need to worry about getting booted out of billionaire camp anytime soon.
You'll feel a lot more comfortable in the millionaires camp.
No, just kill me now.
Income and expenses are just 2 parts of Burns' net worth, though. What about all his assets? He's a multi-billionaire, so trust me, he's got loads. Selling the plant alone would already add another $26 billion to his massive fortune. His ginormous mansion would easily go for another $100 million, like there's literally a whole frackin' theater inside there.
Hello, Mr. Kearns. So pick, please, me, Mr. Burns.
And don't even get me started on the insane, mind-blowing luxuries on the other side of those walls. Homer thinks Ned's living the good life with his fancy schmancy appliances, but does he have the largest television in the free world?
This is the largest TV in the free world.
A large flat-screen TV like that should value around $50,000. And what about this mechanical dressing thingy?
Now I'm ready to hit the town.
An invention like that has gotta be worth $500,000, right? And believe me, Burns' possessions are about to get even wilder.
Was the blurst of times, you stupid monkey!
There's no way a trained, literate monkey ain't worth at least $1 million. So 1,000 of them, that's a whole billion right there. And the crazy part is, 1,000 typing monkeys aren't even the most ridiculous things you can find inside Burns' manor. The episode Rosebud reveals Monty owns quite the collection of historical artifacts.
The only existing nude photo of Mark Twain, and that rare first draft of the Constitution with the word suckers in it.
Yes, so what?
Okay, so a nude photo of Mark Twain would get at least $10 million at auction. A rare draft of the Constitution, another $50 million at least. As for King Arthur's Excalibur, the most legendary sword of all time, gotta go for at least $100 million, right? These are the most absurd items, I don't even know how to value them. So Burns owns items worth more than Springfield itself, and he's just chucked them down his basement like useless garbage. And where does he keep his most valuable possession of all time? Well, that's stored in an even more ridiculous place. In The Trouble with Trillions, Homer gets done for tax fraud, and to avoid prison, the FBI makes him work for them undercover. His first mission is to find and locate a missing $1 trillion bill Burns stole from the government all the way back in 1945.
Unfortunately, the money never arrived. Well, this is a kick in the knickers.
When Smithers drives home to arrange his doll collection, Homer sneaks into Burns' estate, and as the Release the Hounds button isn't working tonight, he gets invited inside. How unusually polite of Mr. Burns. Oh wait, never mind.
Still cold.
Homer searches cupboards for the $1 trillion bill, but Burns catches him in the act. Thinking he's done for, Homer begins to pop a suicide pill. However, Burns thinks he's undercover for a very different kind of agency.
Are you going to put me in Star, Snoop?
Yeah, sure.
Burns shows Homer a rare piece of Hollywood memorabilia he really shouldn't own.
The suit Charlie Chaplin was buried in.
They then enter a Hall of Patriots room filled with animatronics of evil deeds the Burns family have committed throughout history. And look, there's even Mr. Burns with the $1 trillion bill he stole.
Let's move.
Is that the $1 trillion bill in his hand?
That's not the real bill, though. Mr. Burns has that in an even more stupid place you would never guess.
Wow.
2 FBI agents suddenly burst in and arrest Burns for grand larceny. While getting dragged away, he starts ranting about how unfair it is to have to pay taxes. Dude, you pay $3 a year. Homer is so moved by the speech, he rescues Burns, grabs the $1 trillion bill back, and helps him flee the country with Smithers.
Attention fugitives! You are leaving U.S. jurisdiction. Turn back immediately.
Burns lands in Cuba and meets with the president, hoping to buy the island. Now, if you thought keeping a $1 trillion bill in his wallet was stupid, oh boy, just watch.
May I see? Yes, we are all amigos here.
Now give it back.
The episode ends with Burns stuck on a raft trying to sail back home. Sure, he might have lost the $1 trillion, but that suit Charlie Chaplin was buried in would be worth around $7 million. As for his Hall of Patriots, if say the Museum of Evil wanted some really ugly animatronics, I'd say Burns could get $3 million for the entire room. $10 million isn't comparable to losing a $1 trillion bill, but cheer up, Burnsy. What about these creepy heads you have in your wine cellar? Burns has the heads of a dodo bird, a saber-toothed tiger, and Tyrannosaurus Rex, just sitting in his wine cellar like it's totally normal. I mean, these assets are literally worth more than the mansion itself. See, fossils are super duper pricey, and the most expensive one on record was sold for $44.6 million. But Burns doesn't own a pile of old prehistoric bones, he owns the perfectly preserved heads of 3 extinct animals. Forget millions, we're talking billions here now. My guess is that the saber-toothed tiger would go for about $1 billion, the dodo for $5 billion, and as for the T-Rex, the most valuable fossil of all time, $20 billion is hardly a stretch. Speaking of dead animals being used for creepy decorative purposes, Burns has that iconic taxidermy polar bear in his office.
Oh my.
You can actually buy a polar bear like that for around 20 grand, but why would anyone want to do that? Interestingly though, Burns' living animals are actually worth more than his creepy frackin' polar bear. As you all know by now, his 10 hounds are highly trained security dogs. Purebred Doberman protection dogs like these can be worth up to 200 grand each. That puts the entire pack at $2 million, which is nuts. No wonder Burns releases them so much. He's got to get his money's worth. We've been through so much of Burns' stuff, and I'm definitely missing something here. That's it. Vehicles. Monty did have a fabulous yacht at one point, but Homer wrecked it by throwing a party, and what was left of it got stolen by pirates anyway.
It is the ocean that will kill you, not us.
Burns also had a Lambo at one point, and guess who ruined that too? Technically Cheese, but I'm still blaming Homer.
Don't worry, we got the cheese insurance.
Thankfully, Homer hasn't gotten his stupid buffoon paws on Mr. Burns' classic car collection, though. Let's see, he's got his primary mode of transportation, the Bugatti Royale, which he drives exactly like I do playing The Simpsons Hit and Run.
Beep beep, out of my way! I am a motorist.
This Bugatti is a luxury limo from the 1930s, which can rack up to $22 million at auction despite being almost as ugly as a frackin' Cybertruck. Burns also owns a Ford Quadricycle, one of the very earliest of cars.
You there, fill it up with petroleum distillate.
A super embarrassing yet historic vehicle like this would rack up over $45,000 at auction, but still, imagine driving that down the highway. I don't think you could. The last vehicle Burns owns is a 1936 Stutz Bearcat, which would have been a terrible choice of getaway car if Wiggum actually wanted to fight crime that night.
That really was more of a burgundy.
A well-maintained Stutz Bearcat can be worth over 700 grand at auction, and that brings the value of Monty's total assets to an insane $53,295,349,874. Pretty darn impressive, but what is Mr. Burns' actual net worth? Add the income, the assets, then deduct all the expenses, and Springfield's most evil antagonist is looking at an overall net worth of $166,774,243,061. That officially makes him the 8th richest man in the world with a fortune of just $51 billion less than Mark Zuckerberg and over $314 billion bucks shy of beating Elon Musk. Wow. Why the frick do you need that much money, man? So guys, were you expecting Burns to be this motherfucking loaded? Let me know down in the comment section below, and as usual, click the screen to watch more of the videos like this one. And as always, guys, thank you for watching.